First sister, Joanna.
Okay, we're going to start the meeting now.
Married to Don, so.
What's the child's name?
And that's Carson.
Carson.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, Colleen. I'd like to start the meeting off with the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence for all our brave men and women fighting all over the world for democracy and freedom, and our first responders. Thank you. I need a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None being had. So moved. A motion to approve minutes from the June 2019 Town Board meeting.
I make that motion.
Need a second?
Second.
Ooh, fast, guys.
Bang, bang.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Thank you. Authorize payment of bills in the amount of $117,069.47.
Yes, I'll make that motion.
Need a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We'll pay the bills. Thank you, gentlemen. Comments on the agenda? Any comments on the agenda? Mr. Walters?
Just a point of information on Resolution 62. This is about the sewer extension,
Yes.
okay? Are we putting in a regular sewer line or one like they did for Buttermilk Falls? It's a small little pipe, and that anybody wanting to connect then has to put some other kind of pumping in and what have you. Are we not doing a full-blown sewer main?
We are not doing a full-blown
And is there a
sewer
reason
main.
why not?
Because it's too expensive. We just can't afford it. We got a member item for $250,000 from the late Frank Scott Talados, and that's the best thing we could do is with the hydro drilling. So it's right under 9W. If they hit rock, they might have to use a backhoe to expose it, but we're hoping they don't have to.
And what would the cost be to put a regular sewer line in?
I don't know, but this one, the bids came in anywhere between $250,000 and $300,000 dollars. If you figure the ex-Charlie Maggio with per foot for an 8-inch main, it's probably quite a lot more for 1,200 feet.
Ralph, the pressure systems are being used widely by a lot of communities. The system that we had installed in both Marlborough and Milton was funded underneath USDA, I believe, USDA or HUD money. The town no longer qualifies for that, so it's about fourfold to fivefold to do basically the Roman Aquifer gravity-fed systems, and a bore alone is a couple $100,000 underneath 9W as opposed to 20. So we did the same thing up here again.
Just curious, because it seemed like there was a lot of problems when the line up to Buttermilk was done, how many, 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago, whatever, that people were having a problem, and then some people didn't tie in because of the additional cost to them for a pumping system.
So when we prepared for this, there's two people that are going to use this system right now that are on board, and that's DJ Heating and Plumbing, or Heating System, and Chestnut Petroleum. They'll also get a grinder, and I believe we'll install the grinder with that fee. I could be wrong on that. They might be liable to do that at their own cost, but basically that's, so we did a survey and that's what happened. Dennis Larios is our
The line
engineer.
is going how far north?
It's going up to Chestnut Petroleum and maybe a little further. That's when Phase 2 kicks in. We haven't started Phase 2. Phase 2 is a $250,000 member item from Senator Larkin. Right now, we're about to send out letters to all the people that are on close to the industrial park, the new restaurant that's opening up, and so forth and so
And
on.
how far north will that go, take you?
That will go up to the industrial park and then cross over to 9W, to the industrial park. That actually is more than 250,000. I think the cost on that, Phase 2, is around $420,000, something like that. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, most sewers, that's the way they were built in the old days. But now it's too expensive. Mark?
I just had a question on Resolution 60 about the zoning change from the R district to the C1. Is the issue of spot zoning been addressed? And
The reason why we did it to C1 is because the adjacent zone is C1. So that, therefore, if it's touching C1, it's not spot zoning.
right,
And that's why we did
that was
it.
my next question.
Yeah, R is the Brooklyn Bowling in question, which is R, is non-conforming, pre-existing. But with this application that, and the zoning change, it brings the whole manufacturing and everything, into play. So right now, we're doing the zoning change. The zoning change then requires them to go to the planning board.
Right.
They need the zoning change, but it's not spot zoning.
Okay.
If
Thanks.
the C1 wasn't close by and it was R, then we'd be in trouble. We wouldn't be doing the zoning
Right,
change.
that's what I was thinking. Okay, thanks.
And you could always defer to Tom Corcoran. He knows more than I do. Come on, jump up in there, help me out.
You're adjacent to it.
Yes, please step up to the microphone.
You couldn't hear what Councilman Kane was saying. I'm not sure if his mic is turned on.
Councilman
I'll
Kane,
see, we'll go a little more direct next time.
thank you. Speak into the mic. Al.
Yeah.
So, today, we're happy to have the county executive, Pat Ryan, here with us. Pat, would you like to step up to the podium, please? It's a little tough getting words out.
I feel like I don't have my law degree. I don't know if I can practice in this court here.
But first of
use
all,
the microphone, or can I kind of walk around?
you can walk around, but first of all, I want to thank you for your service. Thank you very much.
Of course. Well, good evening, and thank you, Supervisor Lozette and board members, for letting me crash your meeting. I'll try to be respectful of everybody's time, but I really appreciate the opportunity. And just let me know, we'll try to keep it within whatever time bounds you think are reasonable.
3 minutes.
But 2 minutes. All right, I'll take it.
So I have a question.
Sure.
The other day, I was leaving the office, and I was heading east on the turnpike. And as you know, Stewart's is right up from our main street. Yeah, it's over there. And I noticed a gentleman walking his two little children, and they were really close to the road. What I would like to see, if possible, I'd like to see a sidewalk going from Stewart's down into Main Street.
You talking to Stewart's on?
Yeah, right there, 9W, and Main Street is right down this way, right? And so when people do, there's a walkway there, and then it drops off. Especially on the south side, you have to kind of sneak around to make sure you don't get hit by a car. You need to stay on the south side across. There's not much room on the north side, but stay on the south side. But this father was taking his two young kids down into the town to the post office. And so it looked very dangerous. I was going to stop and take a picture, but it was more dangerous for me to stop. And so that's one of my concerns. The other concern that I have is Dock Road itself. It's in disarray, and I've asked a couple of times the DPW to see what was on the agenda of resurfacing and repaving that. As you know, we're in the midst of we have the train station down there that you see, and now we have the South Pier that we have a CFA grant for, and we have the landing there. So hopefully, little by little, we're making that a economic base for the town of Marlborough and Ulster County. You probably know that it's the Blue Gateway. It's the Hudson River for the town of Marlborough. So those are the issues that I have right now. The other issues are the 9W Western Avenue corridor, which is DOT, which I don't know what you can do with DOT. But Western Avenue is a county road. So the other thing is that I'd like to address is have some concerns about when we do plow it, when the county does plow it, they go by there a little too fast, and they push the snow back onto the side on Western Avenue.
Right through Marlborough.
Yeah,
Okay.
in Marlborough. So probably.
Those are exactly what I was going to say.
All right, so Andrew from my team is taking notes.
Yeah, I know Andrew. Hi, Andrew. How are you?
And the sidewalk that is existing there, I don't even think is handicap accessible to have anybody on it.
Yeah.
So there's a little sidewalk on the one side, but there's nothing on the other
I
side.
think the sidewalk is
It's only-
not even 4 feet. It's probably
think it's like 3 feet.
Yeah, and there's always been a disagreement between the school and the county who actually owns that sidewalk.
Yep.
So lots of times I'll just go out and shovel it, just because town employees and stuff, they travel down to Frida's or go to Frida's for lunch and stuff like it's pretty hazard. But those are the things we probably could talk about as far as my issues. I mean, I let the town board speak about if they have any other issues.
Well, there's the corner of Milton Turnpike and 9W.
Yep.
And that thing floods like you wouldn't believe. It's all the way up to the dealership. And what happens is when we call the county, they say it's the state's problem. When we call the state, they say it's the county's problem because that's a county road crossing a state road.
Yep.
But if somebody should do something, I mean, the whole corner is all gone. I mean, there's nothing there anymore. And that literally goes right across the turnpike when it rains pretty hard.
Yep. Okay.
And that's a hazard with people driving down that road.
So in terms of, I mean, we can take them one by one. So
Right.
on that one, who are you or who are you generally engaging with?
The
Is
head
there
of,
somebody, do you feel like you have a good contact?
I'm not happy with the contact, no, I mean, the person I'm dealing with. That's why I'm telling you about it,
Yep,
because
okay.
I'm not getting answers.
Yep.
I mean, all I'm getting is I call up to your department up there, and all they do is tell me to call the state.
Pass the hot-
And then the state
DPW,
tells me to
yeah.
call the county.
Okay.
And it's obviously, I don't care who fixes it, just needs to be fixed,
Yeah.
that's all.
And I think one of the goals I'm really genuinely hoping to deliver on is, I think more and more is getting, you all know this better than me, more and more is getting passed down on towns, and we've got to figure out how to is some kind of a countywide fund to support, all the towns and figure out the right way to kind of, more the same way that the governor kind of created a regional model to fund projects, something similar at the county level where we establish at least a matching fund or to cover some percentage of these projects that can then align with broader economic development goals. So that's something that I'm looking at.
Yeah, and I appreciate you being here because as much as the previous exec was very good to us, but he never showed up to any of our meetings, I think. I don't remember any of it.
I've been here 12 years.
Yeah.
He showed up
So,
a couple of things in town.
the feeling is we're the southern part of Ulster County, and we look and read the newspaper, and everything seems to go to Kingston. And we don't ask for too much, but if any help we can get, we appreciate it.
So I think that the thing that I'll ask for your all's help on is part of the challenge. It's been there's not a framework. There's not like a way to generate bottom-up ideas and then evaluate them and say, look, there's a million things, of course, we
Right.
could do across the county, but let's have a transparent process where everybody can actually, put forth something, we weigh the value, and then we do the best we possibly can across all the different demands. I think at a minimum, that's like the fair, right way to operate, and that I definitely can deliver on.
All the agencies like UCAT, and I could say we have a really good relationship with Dennis Doyle and the Planning Board and Brian Slack and those people. So that's really a good relationship, and Dennis helps us out. He comes down and does little workshops so our people could get the initial points that they need. So
In terms of like your point as well on kind of prioritizing how things go in the county, I definitely get it. I mean, I live in Gardner, and we're not quite as far, south, but we feel sometimes that we're alone and unafraid down there in terms of getting support. So I get that, and that's something. Again, that's part of why I want to.
Okay.
And I gotta actually deliver. It's easy to show up, and now we gotta figure out how to actually deliver.
That's the first step.
But showing up is a good first step, right? But you guys please hold me accountable, and everybody please hold me accountable on that. And I owe more kind of what does it look like as we figure out this. If you've got a great idea, how do we help fund it? How do we evaluate that against competing priorities? If it's something basic like we're not doing our job well, I'll make sure you guys, anybody here, I'll happy to leave my cell number and my email, and just let me know, and we'll get that. I mean, that's just unacceptable. We can't. If there's a debate over who owns what, let's just do it.
It's not, I'm talking about a big, it's been going on for a long time.
Okay. All right. Well, those are things I can actually,
Okay.
I'm confident I can fix. So, you have this, right?
How about like a nice welcome to Ulster County sign at the most southern end of our town,
So-
with maybe some tourist stuff on it that says what we have in the county.
Yeah.
You're entering Ulster County, the capital of farming or something.
gateway sign,
or-
yeah.
If I mean, we don't have nothing there.
Right.
It's like, we're the first town, and we get left like Al said, we're always kind of like left to do whatever we have to do, but we don't
But
get
when you
what.
think about how people experience our county,
Yep.
you're exactly right. It's the gateway, or it's really the first. And I think you all represent all the awesome things about the county. You've got the river and a beautiful kind of point there. You've got the agricultural and farming and wineries and vineyards. And
Exactly.
I love the Meeting in Marlborough campaign. That's an awesome, that's an exciting thing, I think, to draw people in. So one of the things I've been looking at is how we're spending our tourism dollars. So we, as a county, collect over $1 million in occupancy tax revenues.
Pat, do you have a line item in your budget that talks to, that's a pot of money that towns can go after, or is that what you're proposing for next year?
So we don't have it right now.
Okay.
We actually don't have that, which I think we should. I mean, I think that's a logical model that lots of other governments at different levels have. So I'm hoping we can put that in the 2020 budget, which will be due in October.
Right.
But I don't want to promise that.
Right.
If not, I'm not sure I can get it in this year. But the idea would be, yeah, at least a starting point, some reasonable amount that we could then allocate out, and we can come up with some process for
That'd be great.
how to grant it out or award it out kind of thing.
We were working with your predecessor on, or the school district was on Ulster County Community College campus here. Yeah, any update on that, or?
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
I'll find out.
Okay.
I agree that if you look at the economics of what we as Ulster County taxpayers pay to send our young folks to another,
Right.
it's a huge losing proposition for
Right.
us economically, so it makes a lot of sense to invest here to be able to keep our students, just from that's even like the first order effects, the second, third order effects of actually having a great institution here that we can feel good about and proud of is obviously important too.
Right.
I will find out and get
Yeah, I don't know who's driving that now, or do you know, Al, or?
Michael Brooks said
Mike's
they were
still-
having meetings with each of the
School districts?
school superintendents, but they kind of died out. I
Yeah.
don't know really what happened at the end.
Seemed like a good idea.
Well, I think curriculum and finding out what would
Demand.
benefit the community as far
How
as-
much demand is there?
Yeah, so I
kids
think that
actually
kind
use
of
it, right?
fell through
Right.
the cracks.
One of the challenges that I've experienced as I come in and look at how we're operating, we have 25 departments, all doing really important things, many of them mandated by and funded by the state and federal level. But there's a lot of these kinds of initiatives that don't have like a natural owner.
Right.
And so it's easy for them to sound, great idea, we all agree we need to do it, but who has ownership around this?
Right.
So I'm slightly reorganizing how we're operating, and I've outlined 5 big priorities that I'm focused on countywide. One of which is driving economic growth through investing in workforce development, which would align perfectly with this, I think, this idea, and making major investments there. And I'm actually going to resource those initiatives with people and ultimately dollars, and then we'll pull together whatever relevant departments will be involved through all the different phases. But this is something I think is an opportunity to just sort of make sure that these good ideas that don't have a natural owner are actually getting resourced and executed properly. So this is a perfect initiative, I think, to fit
Yeah.
into that.
Yeah, I think the superintendent was trying to get the other school districts in the area to endorse it and provide enough students to make it worthwhile for Ulster Community College to offer the courses. If they had enough people in the seats, that would drive it. That was a really critical thing, and we were certainly behind it. We had a press conference here about it.
Well, I think another thing we're trying to do is really be data-driven. Analyzing things and making a case. So
Yeah.
I don't know if you all we can help on our side with data too. If we could look at the numbers of folks who would be going there who are currently going elsewhere, that's an important justification.
See, I don't think many people know that we pay, when a student from here goes to Dutchess Community College, the county is you have to pay?
Correct.
And, right,
So there's a very bizarre system with misaligned incentives where student from, southeastern Ulster goes to either Dutchess or even down to Orange.
right.
We pay, it's almost double what we would effectively pay if they were going to our Stone Ridge campus.
Okay.
Which is, it's an old model that might have made sense at one time, but definitely is not what we want to be doing at this point.
We've
So I've
been
been
dealing,
speaking with the president.
yeah, Dr. Roberts.
Roberts about
Yeah,
it.
and he was all involved in the whole thing when Mike proposed it, so it just kind of went away or died, so. we'd
And
like
from
to
our
really-
perspective, to say that we have a community college in our town is fantastic, and
And I think one of the ideas that I'd ask you
Right.
And we could actually even rent some space to start and prove out the concept that we could get students to show up, even if it's one
Yep.
program and we get one or two professors to start, and then we build that momentum. I think that's a good approach too, because sometimes it's easy to sort of get blocked on, oh man, this is going to take 10 years and it's going to.
I think that was the approach. They wanted to start with 2-3 classrooms here at the school. So maybe the thing is I would talk to the superintendent tomorrow, Michael Brooks, and maybe get a hold of you and see if we could arrange a meeting with Dr. Roberts and see
That'd be great.
what happened and, you know.
Because SUNY Ulster is desperate for the enrollment numbers, which helps them get more state dollars, so they're incentivized to do it.
Okay.
We're incentivized as taxpayers who are losing out on the deal, so yeah, I like it.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't get your hand up. Sorry about that.
James here, Apollo. Dutchess, Ulster, Orange County all have metropolitan planning organizations. And one of the things it does is really brings the locals together to talk about transportation. And I guess I would ask you to take a look and see if there are other parts of the county operation that might be good not only to bring the local representatives together, but also by providing a transportation improvement program, you can look and see exactly where this money is going. And I think that's good for the people to know and good for putting, get shuffled around. But I think it's a very good, interesting way to operate and have open government. I think it's good for the locality. So maybe you can take a look at that model and see if maybe it applies somewhere else that we could use that. Thank you.
I like it. So you're saying, just to make sure I'm understanding you right, the model we have in the Transportation Council where we sort of are bringing everybody together, or as we're talking about, assessing needs, ranking them, bringing in the federal funding, bringing in our funding, and then sharing that information so everyone knows where everything's going.
Particularly, you're talking about doing some kind of block grant or something.
Yep.
If you're going to be doing something like that, that might be a
good
way to make sure that there is input from the localities into where that money gets spent.
I love it. I think that's right. And one of the things that I've done in the first month, I think I'm now in the second month by a day. We repurposed a team that we had that was called ACE. It was under our Department of Finance, and stood up what we're calling an innovation team. And the core of this whole team is to try to go in and actually start doing exactly what you're saying, generating data about our measures of performance and delivering all the different services that we're delivering, and then also taking in kind of needs and then actually using a more data-driven approach to how we're spending our dollars, how we're measuring whether we're getting return on those dollars, and then sharing it with the public so that people can agree or disagree, but at least we're all operating from a common sort of data perspective and how we're doing things. So I appreciate that. I think that makes a lot of sense as a model.
Sounds good.
I just want one other thing, and I don't, it's coming to your jurisdiction, but I've been involved with the local police department here for 12 years. And the biggest sort of, they do a great job, but it's always, when we see a sheriff's department car actually down in this area, it's like, we think they're lost. That's the joke. I mean, they're never down, they don't come down this far. I mean, I don't know where they come off.
It's because we do have a full-time police force.
Right, but most of the other stuff.
You'll see them out in like Platico where it's part-time.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I get it.
And they cover a lot of that.
Right, but I'm just saying, it's just like presence. And I tell them down to serve, usually to serve warrants or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, one of the challenges we have is just the sheer geography.
Right.
Our county's the size of Rhode Island,
Right.
and we have really three shifts of about a dozen folks to cover. So we end up, to a certain degree, covering those who don't cover themselves, which again, I don't love the incentives there, but just to make sure we're at least providing some degree of baseline services. But I can definitely, I mean, the sheriff runs his office.
We know.
Yeah, no, that's what I said.
I know why.
But, you know, when we have our budget discussions every year, which are just starting now, I definitely have a little bit of this, ability to express those things, so I will definitely express that to you.
Thank you.
Pat, do you have any say over the Ulster County Resource Recovery Agency? What's your feelings on that?
So technically, no, the legislature appoints the RRA and oversees but as a county executive, one of the most important things we do is make sure we're properly dealing with waste and we're doing it in as sustainable and cost-effective way as we can. So I want to have and plan to have as much as of a say in that as I can.
I mean, do you want to stay in the garbage business, I guess is what I'm saying? Or do you think it's something that's got to be revamped a little?
Oh, I think what we're doing now is unsustainable. We're shipping our waste hundreds of miles, we're paying millions of dollars just to ship it there. And by the way, the place we're shipping it is going to fill up in 5, maybe less years. So I'm encouraged that our new chair of the legislature, Tracy Bartels, in her opening remarks said, this is something we can't keep kicking, we've been kicking the can.
Yeah.
And we can't keep kicking the can, and that's going to require, I think, looking at how are other people doing this? How are other municipalities handling it? Is there new technology we can bring to bear? The current situation is just not.
Look,
it's not
it actually came back to bite us, because we actually have the same problem in a smaller scale with our landfill transfer station, or its transfer station, but we were looking at maybe doing garbage districts, you know, and having everything go out privatized, do 5 special districts, all to contract, and then we got price increase, and we had to lock in for 5 years, and it was like, now what do we do?
So New Paltz just switched
Yep.
to county waste. They did achieve like short-term savings, but the risk, I think, of lock-in with these, I mean, there's really only 2 or 3 companies now
That are big enough
that
to
are
provide.
effectively, and so that is a big concern to me, that's a big part of what's driving what's not tenable. And the incentives between those picking up the garbage, they also own the landfills, that's not a great alignment. So this is something that, you know, nobody wants to tackle, but we have to, and I plan to be.
I mean, would the county ever think about bidding out this like at a county level? Like bidding it out themselves?
Collection.
Yeah, I mean,
As a
I think
collective?
that we can't discard any option because, as I said, what we're doing now is just not gonna.
Yeah. I mean, like Alan said, it hit our budget too. I mean, that, you know, and then we had to lock in for 5 years. It's like, you have to do it, you know? We almost had no choice. It increased our budget, you know, significantly. And it seems like sometimes, I know Ralph likes to say it a lot, is it seems like we're getting double taxed. Because you're paying the tax if you have a private hauler, and then you're also paying through your county tax to have this agency up there. So you're like paying a double tax in a way, so which I don't think is right. But, you know, like you said, something's got to be looked at.
Yeah, I mean, I know, I would put any option on the table because I think that's kind of where we're at.
Tim
So
Rose has been very helpful.
That thing with,
He's a good, I mean, we've
Yeah, I
spoken to
mean,
him.
we've got a good, we've got a good team there trying to do
He's
the
been
best.
very honest with us.
Yeah.
so New Paltz did it with a franchise.
Yes.
Right.
Didn't work out great from the beginning, I don't think. I think they had some issues. I don't know if they've straightened them out yet or not.
I know in talking to
Neil?
Rogers, Neil, they seem relatively happy, but I don't want to speak for them.
Maybe by now it's settled down a little bit.
Well,
What
anything
is
new.
the reason that everything that is in the county has to go to the county to be disposed of? That's what seems to be the double tax.
That was,
Because then, what made it makes your rates go up when you have a private hauler, and you're paying that tax in your county tax bill. If it wasn't that it had to go through the county, they could lower their rates. You wouldn't have to deal with hauling out millions and millions of dollars of stuff to a landfill in another state. I don't understand the whole reason of even having it at the county level, in my opinion, but I mean, it seems like a lot of wasted tax dollars.
There's reasons for it, I think.
Oh, I'm sure there's
reasons.
reasons.
At the
for
time.
everybody, the long version, and I'm, you know, about 50% up to speed on it, to be totally honest. But this goes back to the late 80s, early 90s, when the decision was made that the theory was that would reduce total, by forcing everyone to sort of measure it, it would drive incentives to reduce how much waste we're generating, which it has. But, yeah, at what cost, and is that still a model that makes sense? I don't think that's a law that's probably going to be easy to
No,
change.
I'm sure it's not.
Well,
Yeah.
So on a happier note, Getting away from the garbage, I know our fire chief, ex-fire chief, Robert Tronsolito is here, and I'd like to thank you personally. I know the legislature just passed, going to build a new facility, right, Robert?
First one ever.
Only one.
Thank you, was up there when you signed the documentation a couple of weeks ago. So,
It would've been nice if it was on one.
I was really proud to do that, although.
Central Hudson building.
I was just there to sign the final thing. You all advocated for it. A lot of people before me fought for something that we should have had. We're gonna invest over $6 million to build what we've needed for a long time. State-of-the-art, public safety training center, fire training center. I actually just was the kickoff meetings on Wednesday. I'll be there. I'm gonna be very involved in making sure that this goes quickly and effectively and that we get it up as, as rapidly as we can. But as I said that day, I mean, if we're gonna ask people to literally run into life-threatening situations in burning buildings, we owe them the absolute best training and equipment, so I'm glad to do that.
Trevor, one of the boys that's been on that committee, seems like forever.
Yeah.
That's finally there.
So one question for you, Ash. I mean, do you think one of the big challenges, I don't know if you all are experiencing it here, but recruitment and just in general volunteerism, part of the theory, I think, on making this investment is it'll hopefully say, look, we appreciate what you all do. We're going to take care of you and make sure you're trained. Do you think, is your sense that that'll help recruitment, or how do we solve that?
Sure, that's been heard. No matter what you do to try to maintain and keep your membership where it should be, and I was assistant chief right here in Milton, so he can relate to exactly what we're talking about. So it's an ongoing thing, and I've been in the fire service, seems like forever. And it's like a roller coaster. You're up, you're down with your membership, and you're down, and you're up a little bit, but we're holding our own. Milton's holding their own right now, and hopefully it'll go up a little bit also.
Yeah, I don't think in any way it'll hurt it. I think it will help. It just, to become a volunteer fireman now, it isn't just coming down, filling out an application and having a bunch of guys and ladies and gentlemen vote for you. It's okay, congratulations, you're in. Now you're gonna go take this 8-week course. And when you have to go do your live burns, some of your rescue training and stuff like that, you either have to go to Orange County, or you have to go over to Dutchess County. It's like we never really had a home. Or we were going to somebody's burn house, which is an abandoned house in the town that somebody donated, for you to go up and do rescues. And when you know what's out there and then you actually see what you get, it really helps with morale, I think, it really does. And now departments, Marlborough and Milton, and whoever they are, Highland, can actually book the training center for we drill every week. So now we can book it for that evening and go up to a state-of-the-art facility as opposed to an old barn. It means a lot.
Good, good. Well,
That's a great thing.
I'm proud to do it, and thank you all and anybody else in the room. Whether you're a volunteer firefighter or, my parents drilled it into me pretty young. You got a responsibility to serve and to give back, and so I think that's something we really have to fight pretty hard in our country right now to try to renew. So thank you all for doing it.
Well, it's been tough. I mean, I look at all the magazines that I get, and across the country, not just here in New York, across the country, the volunteerism is going downhill. It's going downhill fast in some places.
And what you notice, and I know what I notice, I'm in sales, so I deal with a lot of fire districts, is the membership, the age is rising, and the probies, there's going to be a big generational gap, because there's gentlemen in their 70s driving fire trucks, and there's not people in their 20s driving those fire trucks, and there's going to be a really, we haven't seen that gap yet, when there's going to be when those folks retire out, when they can no longer do it, now who steps up?
I think he knows, I hear this everywhere, pretty much everywhere I go, with a few exceptions. Apparently Rosendale has some young people, so I'm trying to figure out what they're doing.
That's our guys.
But we need to invest in this now and getting ahead of it, because as you well know, we save millions and millions of dollars because we have people willing to do
Oh,
it.
absolutely.
I mean, it would be untenable if we didn't have this.
Oh, my God.
So that's something that at the county level, I want to invest in and would like to partner with you all. How do we get more young people, or people kind of in all the different demographics, but particularly young people
think this was a great first step, building this new building. I think that was great. These guys really deserve it. And, you know, kudos to them. They're a great, you know, community builders in our community, the Milton Fire Department and the Marlborough Fire Department. So they're great people, and they commit to the cause, and just building this thing, I think, is a really good plus for all of us. You know.
I met an 18-year-old kid who had just graduated from Highland High School, and he said he was going to get his fire training, or his fire, I forget the exact title of his degree that he's going to get, and then he's coming back here, and he was super proud of the fact that he'd be able to train in this facility. So anecdotal, but that was nice to see. He was there that day that we were there. That was pretty cool.
We'll take one more question. Ralph, do you have a question?
No, this is more of a comment. I'm glad to see that prior to your administration, that the county continued doing motor vehicle bus coming to the 5 communities. The new one got delivered finally. It was about a 3-week delay because the line around the building here that first week was unbelievable. But I get around a lot south of here, because that's where I have contacts. A lot of people in Orange County come up to Marlborough to use that. Now, it's my understanding that if you use the Ulster County for some of the fees, stay in Ulster County. When there was a 3 weeks of not having it here, since my driver's license was going to be up, I was told by some people, why don't you go to Beacon? Why don't you go to Poughkeepsie? All right? I didn't. I waited for the bus to come. And I understand why it's a 3-week delay. The driver of the bus said that the old bus was pass inspection, and the new one was delayed. So I don't know if there's any other county in the state of New York that provides that same kind of service by sending out a bus or people. I know Orange County, the people I talk to, and Dutchess County people, they say there's no such thing.
And I have to give the credit to our clerk.
All I'm telling you is a number of years ago,
Ralph, is this going to be long? Come on.
1975, I went to go register my car.
so when this one is 10 or 12 years old, make sure you got in the budget to keep it going.
I hope I'm still around.
So, Pat's been going all day. He had 2 meetings before this, and so, first of all, thank you very much. It was very gracious of you to come in to Marlborough and answer all our questions, and hopefully we'll get some response, and we'll talk a little bit more about the college, about the roads, about the sidewalks, and so forth and so on. But I want to thank you personally, and the board thanks you for coming and making the effort to, I mean, it's just great. I mean, it's...
Don't let me get off this easy.
No, we're not. You know, we're nice up here, but believe me, we're not.
It's on TV.
I appreciate the opportunity, and anytime you have me, be glad to come back with some regularity and our Kingston way, stop in and
We'll get you to some of the wineries here too, and distilleries. It says give you a whole day.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like it both.
We don't have any breweries. We're working on a brewery too, so.
My wife's about to give birth in 3 weeks, and she's really excited to drink wine. We'll bring a little bit down.
Well, congratulations on that, and best of luck. Thank you, Pat.
Nice meeting you.
Thanks, Pat. Take care.
Okay. Start off with the supervisor's report. I believe that's where we're at.
Read it quick.
Okay, I'll try. I attended the Hudson Valley Greenway meeting up in High Park. Met with Councilman Baker and Ellen Stewart and a representative from the New York Preservation League to show her historic properties in the town of Marlborough. You'd like to talk about that a little bit more, Howard?
Well, this is, I think, part of the grant that we went for to do a survey of the town's cultural resources, historic assets, and I think she came down, she didn't say this, but I think she came down to meet us and get a feel for the town as part of their final judgment on the grant. I assume that's what it was, the purpose.
When will we hear anything about that?
July, I think, right? So we're soon, hopefully, you know how these things go, but we hope so.
Okay, and I had a meeting with the property owners at Tabor Place. As you know, I sent all that up to legal. Jerry Kamadas hasn't, I think this week he'll have his reply for us. I met with Councilman Corcoran, Chief Kokoza, and legal representatives to discuss PBA negotiations. That's ongoing. Scott, would you like to say, at the last meeting, I believe we said that we were going to arbitration and...
Yep. Well, we're going to have a follow-up meeting next month.
Yep.
And see if we could avoid to go to arbitration and not spend the legal fees. And hopefully we could come to an agreement. But right now, it looks like we might have to go to arbitration.
Yep. We'll see. I met twice with representatives of Brooklyn Bottling to discuss possible new facility in Milton. Met with Councilman Koenig and the Tronsalitos and a representative from Brooklyn Bottling to discuss an MOU for proposed project. So, Alan, would you like to talk a little bit about that meeting?
I think it just was nice to sit and talk and basically have a nice open discussion about, you know, some existing issues that, you know, were always there with the property, the potential of doing the rezone, but with that, there's a few caveats that we want to take care of. So it was nice to have the adjoining property owners with us. And I think so far we're on the right path to achieve where we need to be, where all parties want to be.
Yeah. The MOU was signed by Eric Miller, the owner, so sent that to legal also, and haven't heard anything. But I think basically we felt that was a good start.
So is this all the things that we talked about in the last meeting?
Yes.
All the
Yes.
issues?
You know, about the issues with the dust, about the headlights and everything with the Tronsalitas we brought up, and
Taking the house down?
taking the house down. Trucks will be going in that way. Hopefully the trucks will go behind the building and around. So all of that, the noise, the hair nets. They did. I'll send you the MOU, Memorandum of Understanding. That's what I proposed. And Mike, the representative of Brooklyn Bottling, he was gracious enough. He took all that down from that meeting, and he went to Eric, and Eric signed it, so we have that.
That's great.
Excuse me? They're going to look at that for sure, Tom. Yeah.
So they won't park in the public road anymore, hopefully.
The basic thing was, I think, that we were concerned about cleaning that up, and also about headlights going into the neighbors' houses, about noise, people coming off the shift, loud music and stuff, disturbing the neighborhood. So all those things was in the MOU, and I apologize. We just agreed on this late last week, and this was, as we discussed last time, was all based on if the town board was going to give them a zoning change to build a facility, and they needed a zoning change. So that's why Councilman Koenig and myself and the Tronsalitas met and discussed all the items that they had on their list. It was a pretty long list, but it got done. I think everybody was happy. And
So
yeah.
I just want to the MOU is at the attorneys right now?
Yeah.
They already signed it?
Yeah.
So it's legally binding?
Yeah.
At this point?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think
that'll
we're all
go to
happy.
Excuse
Robert, would you like to say something? Yes. Talk loud.
Yeah,
Yeah,
come on.
you can't
Come on up.
barely walk.
Hey, we're in no hurry. Well, maybe we were.
we've lived through, and basically, my wife and I are in favor of the construction. What the construction's going to do is improve our quality of life tenfold. I don't know how many of you's ever been across the street or where I live, and some of the things that we have to deal with. When I met with Mr. Miller and Mike last week, and the meeting was very lengthy, and we had a down-to-earth chit-chat back and forth, and I was not very hold back in my verbiage and what I think of the way things have been running over there. And so far, the only thing is if everything gets approved, I got to rely on the town board, the planning board, and Tommy to make sure that what we put in black and white actually happens, because
That's what I'm getting at.
what I'm trying to say here, and I'm being polite tonight, is what they say and what they do could be two different things.
Right.
So I've got to rely on the town to make sure and enforce all the things that we put down. I know Tommy will be on top of them, and what you's approved, and then of course the planning board have been very helpful in regards to what they're going to be doing. So that's the key, is that all use people make sure that what they agree to actually happens.
So I did talk to Jeff Butterstone we had a meeting with Nexamp on the pilot.
Yeah.
And I showed him, and he said, yes, everything was binding, and it looked good to him, because I just wanted to get a jump on tonight's meeting and get a good feeling about it. He says, yeah, and that MOU would go directly to the planning board, and all those people will be brought on board that saying, this is what's going on. And also, Brooks and Brooks are involved. Myself and Tom talked with Patty Brooks about all the issues. So I think we're on the right path. I think it's a 60,000 square foot facility. It's 30,000 on the bottom, 30,000 on the top, and it's a facility just to store cans. As you know, this new drink that the kids are drinking, the Monster, right? He just signed a big contract for 3 years, the first time he ever encountered a large deal like that, and they're going to pay for part of the facility, I'm told. It's warrant in the C1 district. There's no, he can't put another facility for manufacturing in there, because that's not in the C1. You can't do that. But we told him up front, myself and Mr. Corcoran, and once he brings this to the town board, that everything's open to the town board, because now that pre-existing non-conforming, they could look at that too and say, like, we don't agree about this where people are parking, so all that is going to be good stuff to bring in front of the planning board. And with this MOU, it kind of clears a lot of stuff up. There's like 12 items.
I think it's good that it's in an MOU, and I think it's good that the planning board's going to have the MOU, and they should be sticking by it when they go through the process, which I'm sure they will.
That's the key. That's the key.
And, it's all about lighting. It's about the quality of life for their neighbors. So this is an opportunity where it's a win-win situation for the town and the neighbors.
Yeah, particularly if we're trying to do the kinds of things we want to do in the Milton Hamlet.
Right.
Becomes important to make sure that the commercial aspect of that area is under control as well.
Thank you, Robert, and thank you, Allison, for all your time. Appreciate it. Oh, absolutely. I know. I'm your favorite supervisor.
Now he's got a cane, so
So moving forward, I also met with the Milton Marlborough Fire Chief and Robert Tronsolita and Water Superintendent Charlie Maggio to discuss safety and water issues. That was a good meeting, and I met with Councilman Baker, Ulster County Planning, and New York State DOT to discuss paving of Route 9W and study recommendations. It was very I don't know if we talked about that, and forgive me if we did, but it was in 2020 they allocated $6 point some million to reclamation and repave the 9W corridor from the Orange County line south to up to the Rite Aid in Highland. And basically, we asked if they're going to do any of the recommendations from the 9W corridor study, and basically I think the answer was no, which was very, I just couldn't understand why the state and the county spends $120,000 and nobody listens and looks at the one, the one thing that we got a lot. There's some good stuff in there and there's some bad stuff, but let's at least discuss it so this way we could get on the same page. Their concern was if we change anything, we change the crown of the road, and that way it's harder for them to plow. And Chief Kokoza let them know that, there's 3 trucks abreast that come down. There's not a crown issue when you do that. So basically I wrote a bunch of letters to all our representatives, and I don't think any of them replied. But it was it wasn't very encouraging. So I understand. I mean, I'm really grateful that they're going to repave it, but let's, turning lanes and slowing down, calming traffic, all beneficial to the town of Marlborough. It's not done yet, but so let's hopefully we could keep on bugging and getting our officials involved. It is DOT. Anyhow, I met with Rosemary Wine and Councilman Baker and the planner, John Beam, to discuss the new CFA grant opportunities. I think that's one of the resolutions on the agenda tonight. Attended Eagle Scout Matthew Jennison's Achievement Award. That was great. He's the one who did all those great benches in our Cluett Chance Memorial Park. Attended MES graduation dare ceremony. Officer Fulton always does a great job. It's an honor and a privilege to be there. Attended the annual Meet Me in Marlborough meeting at Nostrano Winery, and that was also great. What came out of that was that VJ gave me a little clue in the talk about the South Pier, and fortunately there was a reporter there, Judy Raff, who wanted to do a whole story on the pier. And so hopefully that'll come out on the record in a couple of days. So it's all about community service, and yeah, it's about the town of Milton, the hamlet of Milton, and hamlet of Marlborough doing all this great stuff and working together and accomplishing great stuff through the service to the community. I met with Senator Skoufis, Assembly Jacobson, Councilman Baker, John DeMarco, and Marlborough School District Superintendent Michael Brooks and Patrick Witterall to discuss Dan Scammer project and the OCIDA. As you know, probably Senator Skoufis was not pleased with the IDA, and hopefully we'll get to a point where he would be pleased with the amount of money that would go to the Marlborough School District. But just to let you know that we are involved, we're asking to be at the table, unlike last time, so we're pushing for that. That was a great meeting. And the meeting had a meeting with the Milton Landing Committee. They decided to do a fundraiser, a couple bands, have a great time down at the Milton Landing. You got a date for that or anything? Yeah, Alan?
I believe it's going to be September 14th.
September 14th. Stays tuned, stays tuned. And attended planning board meeting and met with the accountants to review the audit for 2018. Everything seems to be in order. So moving right along. And also, let me just, meeting with engineer Phil Bell to fill out the preliminary from the member item for Tomvac building. Phil had something to do today, but he promised me that the board would have that by this week. Tom, building inspector. How you doing, Tom?
Building Department report, month of June 2019. Certificate of occupancy, 7. Request for informations, 20. Building extensions, 6. Fire inspections, 20. Order to remedy, 11. Complaints, 26. Burn permits issues, 26. Building permits, 10 addition renovations, 26 burn permits, 1 garage, 5 decks, 1 demolition, 5 electrical, 1 furnace, 2 hot tubs or pools, 5 roofs, 5 sheds, 5 takes installation or removals, wireless communications, 1 wood pellet stove, 1. Total permits 68 for an estimated cost of building $457,875. Total fees collected, certificate of occupancy $1150, permit extensions $1772.50, building permits $54.64, request for information is $2,000, total building permit fees $10,386.50, fire inspection fees $14.15, for a combined of $11,906.50. Total miles 1251, gas usage 90 gallons.
Any questions for Tom, building inspector? What are we up to about new homes, do you figure, this year?
For this year, I think we're at about 12 to 14.
Wow.
Yeah, and I got another couple on my desk.
As compared to last year or the previous year?
Which total, the complete year last year, I think we had 11
Okay. So
for the full year. So we're only halfway through here and we're at 14.
What's the price, Tom? 350, 330?
Retail?
Yeah, what are they selling for, you know?
For, believe it or not, they're telling me over 400,000 now.
Oh, 400 now?
Yeah.
Coming up.
Because what I've encountered is that 60 to 70% of these builders are still building for someone and have contracted price, but we're back at about 30 to 40% spec houses, which is good. I mean, spec builders means they're laying their own,
spec houses.
they're spending
So-
their own money and anticipating a sale. So those houses, when I ask, because I do kind of inquire, is it sold, how you making out, how's the market been? My spec builders are at 400 plus, believe it or not. I thought it was a little high, but it's where they're at.
I know, I talking to Cindy Hilbert, she's saying because our full valuation is usually 100%, and I asked why it was like 95, and she said the reason is that not only are they getting their price, they're getting more than the assessed price on the houses, which is really...
Well, again, people have a misconception about assessment and appraisals, right? I mean, there's a difference there between assessment and appraisals. Assessments are based on 3 years of average, and appraisals are based on, you know, what they're actually worth today. They're coming in and saying, you know, square footage-wise, what is this worth? So there's always a difference between the two. So she's always trying to play catch-up, but obviously I tell people, regardless what your assessment is, the rate just moves because what we need is what we need. So the rate moves based on what your assessment. That's all it is. But right now,
the economy's great.
everything's good. Builders are all busy. All my contractors are busy. It's actually tough getting a guy on the side to do a little small jobs. I'm getting calls for decks and plumbing and bathrooms, and it's tough. All those guys are kind of busy right now, but yeah, everybody's busy.
It's a good scenario.
Yeah, everything's in good shape.
Thank you.
All right.
Councilman
Molinati now, okay. From Chief Kokoza, activity summary for the month of June 2019. Motor vehicle accidents, personal injury 5, fatal 0, property damage 13, report not required 4 for a total of 22. Summons issued, 119 vehicle and traffic, parking 4. Complaint activity, total blotter entries 386, total arrests 26. Total telephone calls 1,701. Police department overtime, all the police department overtime see attached, I mean, you all have attached there. She can show it up there if you'd like. Full-time dispatchers overtime, 27 hours. Part-time dispatcher overtime, 24 hours. Police mileage, 96.33. It's under 10,000 for the first time in a long time. Okay. You don't want me to read all these other...
No, it's good.
You did put the attaches though this
The
time.
attachments are on there.
Yeah, they're on
Here's
there.
like all the attachments.
Anybody interested, go website, the full
Look 'em up.
reports on the website. Okay. Alan, would you like to do the highway superintendent?
Okay, Highway Superintendent's Report, monthly report for June 2019. Roads, we worked alongside Van Eden paving, preparing and paving Old Indian Trail We're continuing to repair roads by chipping, mowing, and repairing potholes, which are to be blacktopped this season. On 610, we replaced 30 foot of 8-inch PVC pipe on Highland Avenue. On 614, we installed 80 feet of 4-inch perforated PVC pipe to repair a weeper at the end of Sherman Drive. On 617, we repaired a water issue on Prospect Street with installing 40 feet of 4-inch perforated PVC pipe. And on 624, we replaced 110 feet of 12-inch PVC pipe and 1 catch basin. On 619, we replaced a newly installed 405-foot by 12-inch PVC pipe and added 3 new catch basins on Lyons Lane. On 628, we returned to mill and blacktop all of the repaired areas. On 626, we installed 25 feet of 4-inch perforated PVC pipe on Peach Lane to repair a weeper. We also replaced 60 inches of 12-inch pipe on Mahoney Road. On 627, we replaced 40 feet of 12-inch PVC pipe on Walnut Lane. Drainage. On 621, we ditched alongside Hillside Drive and installed riprap to control erosion. We have also cleaned out catch basins throughout the town. Brush and weeds. We continue to mow and chip along roadsides throughout the town. We worked with Di Lorenzo Tree Service to ground a stump on West Street and remove trees. The landfill. On 6-7, we mowed the landfill. Training. On 6-4, we had a mandatory seminar on sexual harassment in the workplace, which the Highway Department attended. Water Department. Assisted the Water Department in installing a water tap on Ridge Road. On 625, we assisted the Water Department with a water main break on Hudson Terrace. Fuel usage was, gas was 251.303 gallons. Diesel was 1,039.738 gallons. This is respectfully submitted by John Alonji, the Deputy Highway Superintendent.
Thank you, Alan.
You got it.
Talking to John about the Coolidge Chance Memorial Park, it seems like probably at the end of the
talked to
camp.
him yesterday.
Yeah.
Said after camp.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get there. He's got the sidewalks, West Street to finish up to the library, and then hopefully we could get it in this year. I told him that the board already approved the 15,000.
Yeah, he said he'll get it in. Some way, somehow, he'll get it in.
That'd be great. Water Superintendent, Mr. Majeo. How are you, sir? Good evening.
Monthly report for June. Our water consumption totaled 16.4 million gallons, which is a daily usage of about 546,000 gallons a day. Compared to last month, we had 16.97 million gallons, which is a daily usage of 548,000. Compared to a year ago, we were about 15.049 million gallons, which is a daily usage of 501. Summary for the month, hydrants, we had to repair hydrants on Sands Avenue because of car damage. We finished weed whacking hydrants, and we performed flow testing on Riverview Drive. Water mains, we had to repair an 8-inch main on Hudson Terrace with the help of the Highway Department. And we also had to perform new taps on Ridge Road. Curb boxes, we had to repair curb boxes and valve boxes on Hudson Terrace. Meters, bills were mailed out. If there are any problems or any questions, feel free to give us a call. The town park had to rebuild a chlorinator pump. Service lines inspections, we had 2, closing 6, markouts 40, gallons of gas used 210, mileage for the month 1575.
I see you repaired that leak on Church Street, too.
Yeah, not me. The Highway Department.
Yeah.
They finally put a little drain in there where the water was coming out, and they
Was it a main leak, or was it just a drainage?
just groundwater.
Okay.
They also did that on Prospect Street, but Gail had mentioned, was also, they thought it was above the water main, and it was groundwater coming from the hills.
From all the rain we had?
I guess so.
Any other questions for Charlie? Thank you, Charlie. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Charlie. Thanks, Charlie.
Colleen, how are you? Good.
Town Clerk, monthly report for June 2019. Burn permits, 1 for $200. Conservation, 10 for $17.94. Dog licenses, 18 for $105. Water services, 3 for $450. Road cut fee, 1 for $350. Transfer station permits, 1 for $60. Punch cards, 33 for $1,805. Marriage licenses, 5 for $87.50. Building fees, 1 for $12,714. Fire fees, 1 for $915. Camp fees, 43 for $11,765. Zumba, 1 for $400. Accident report, 17 for $85. Certified copy, 7 for $230. FOIL request, 5 for $59.50. Park fees, 3 for $900. Peddler's license, 1 for $250, for a grand total of $30,393.94.
Thank you, Colleen. Any questions?
You're
for
welcome.
Colleen?
Thank you.
I want to thank you for a great job your office does. You and Danielle, I get compliments all the time. So I just want to tell you up front and personally, thank you for all your service. Appreciate it.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
I got one yesterday.
All right. This is water quality management from Julian Falcon. Report of the Marlborough wastewater treatment plant for June 2019. The average flow meter reading to the plant was 120,000 gallons per day. The design capacity is 175 gallons per day. We use 69% of capacity. The process is meeting all other speedies requirements. Lab results show that we removed 97% of BOD and 91% of suspended solids during the month. The Milton wastewater treatment plant, the average flow to the Milton plant during June 2019 was 27,000 gallons per day. This was about 50% of design capacity, which is 55,000 gallons per day. We showed the 98 of the BOD and 95% of TSS removal. The process is working well, meeting speedies requirements. Daniel Brooks is currently assisting us in the process of obtaining 2 basic computer systems, one for each of the treatment plants. They will be extremely helpful for keeping and contact with the DEC. Overall, both wastewater treatment plants are in good working order, but getting older. If you need any additional information, please do not hesitate to contact me. And Dennis Larios is working on that. He's seeing what's available as far as all the stuff that's down there, if we could actually, the control and all that stuff, if we could get parts for that, or if we have to rebuild. So it's an ongoing process. The town of Marlborough door control, Andrew McKee. Overview, we received a total of 16 calls this month, including 6 calls to service from Marlborough PD, State Police, or Ulster County Sheriff. Responded to 6 active complaints and/or cases which are now closed or resolved. We currently have 2 open cases that has been addressed but is ongoing or unresolved. We impounded 0 stray dogs this month. We issued 0 appearance tickets. We currently have no dogs in the kennel. We had 1 dog bite reported this month. We have a dangerous dog complaint under investigation at this time. And that was from Andrew. So we're batting 100 again with Cindy Hilbert. Cindy Hilbert is our assessor. We prepared 4 property tax estimates. Let me just, what happened here? Okay. It's short. We worked on completing the STAR income verification correction with the state. We processed 26 real property transfers. We filed our final assessment roll on July 1st, 2019. Cindy also met with the attorney, Jeff Battistini, from Vanderwater and Vanderwater, and a gentleman that represents Nexamp to do a pilot program for the solar farm on the Milton Turnpike, which is 2 kilowatts. So the arrangement is that the town and the county and the school have to get together with all on the same page on what should be on that pilot. And so we're going to arrange for that. meeting to happen in a couple weeks. Town of Marlborough Planning Board review. Howard?
A meeting, June 3rd, 2019, approved the stenographic minutes for a 5-6 meeting. Attendees, everybody was there. Agenda, first one item was Twin Pond. At the request of the applicant, the public hearing was rescheduled for July 1st, 2019. Second item, Buttermilk Spa expansion. The applicant's resubmitted plans are now accurate and complete, include a narrative report regarding the use and function of the facilities there as requested. Proposed modifications of the sewer system requires Ulster County Health Department. The project also requires submission to the Ulster County Planning Board due to its proximity to the town line. The applicant must complete the short Form EAF, and comments from the jurisdictional emergency services are outstanding. They will reappear on July 15th. Next item is Royal Energy Properties. In addition to correcting several technical issues, the applicant requires a New York State DOT review for proposed revisions to the access drive, review from the jurisdictional emergency services, and Ulster County Planning Board review. The applicant will return it at a later date. Last item, Brooklyn Bottling. Applicant's proposal requires Ulster County Planning Board review and comments from the jurisdictional emergency services. A public hearing is scheduled for July 15th. The next meeting was on June 17th. The meeting was canceled. Respectfully submitted, Chris Brand, Chairman.
Thank you, Howard. So, let's go to the report of the committees. Recreation Committee. So,
Camp is coming up, right?
Do you have anything?
I don't have anything on the you mean from Scoofus and Jacobs? No, I don't have anything. They said within 2 weeks the capital budget has been passed. I asked today, they don't have anything today, but they assure us at a meeting with myself and Mr. Baker that we definitely are going to get some help. It's just a matter of time. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks, at the end of the month, I'll have some happy news.
Hopefully.
And we'll see what happens. So with Scott's, what we're referring to is member item for the Tomvac building, which we had a presentation by Phil Bell at our last meeting. I think the overall total price with the recreation, with the community room and the recreation room was around 8-something, and that included soft cost. And so we have $250, so we're hoping for a generous member item from Senator Scoofus and Assemblyman Jacobson. They just finished the budget, the capital budget, and that's where they hand out all the money to the different districts. And so they haven't heard exactly how much they're going to get. Hopefully, we've been talking to both the Assemblyman and the Senator about the Tomvac building. And management, Emergency Management Preparedness Committee. Alan?
Nothing new.
And we're still working on the design guidelines for the 9W corridor. I think we're almost there. I keep on saying that, but we're almost there. IT Committee, I think the TVs are working sometimes, sometimes not. So there's a couple of bugs, but the computers up here are working. Everybody's seem to be happy. The Milton Train Station Foundation, we're going to meet as part of the next CFA grant. We found out basically we were going to try to do the pavers in front of the Milton Train Station with the monies from the foundation, but after getting an evaluation of the cost it might cost to put those pavers in and to do the different reconfiguration of that spot down there, the initial one cost was like $130,000, was way beyond of what the foundation has in their budget. So I believe we're going to put it into the CFA grant along with the Milton Landing. Hopefully that'll be good. And it's a 25% match, right, Rosemary?
Yep.
Right.
vote on, there's enough money to, we can
Me-
give a cash match to go with that $130,000.
Right. And so,
Coming up the next weekend.
yeah. So I don't think there'll be any issue with that. I think you have around $50-some thousand in that fund, so maybe there'll be left over some money, which would be great, and have a great big party. Anyhow, Milton Landing Citizens Committee, Al?
Well, we just have there's going to be the fire department's cornhole tournament down there on the 14th, and then that fundraiser should be September 14th in the evening after the cornhole tournament. Be a live band fundraiser, so we'll have food and stuff like that.
Oh, sounds
Start
great.
getting some flyers out and everything else.
Yeah, the flowers look beautiful. Marlborough Hamlet Economic Development Committee.
Nothing really, other than we need to review all the materials that we got from the National Park Service person, and Matt and I are doing that, but it's going slowly. So Matt's been very busy.
Yeah, I've been trying to get a hold of Carl, and there hasn't been any response to come down and look at the Tilcon property to start that.
He's a busy man.
Yeah. But we'll keep on trying. Meet Me in Marlborough, BJ, would you like to come up and talk about Meet Me in Marlborough?
Congratulations, by the way, BJ, on your naturalization citizenship.
Thank you. It took only 45 years.
Well, we weren't sure we wanted you in, you know that, so.
Denmark did not accept dual citizenships until 2 years ago, so I had to wait because I didn't want to give up my Danish citizenship. So there you have it. Meet Me in Marlborough has been very busy the past month rather, yeah, this past year too. I just got a few things to highlight for you. We are again participating in the Hudson River Valley Ramble. Some of you might be familiar with it. It's actually it's the 20th year in a row that this has been taking place, and it's highlighting the history, culture, and natural resources of the Hudson River Valley, the national heritage areas, as well as landscape, communities, trails throughout the region. So it's starting on the 31st of August, and it runs every weekend throughout September. The easy way to look this up is HudsonRiverValleyRamble.com. That gives you all the details for what's going on during September. And of course, we are in there with our new brochure and rack card and everything that I'll get back to in a second. But we have a very good exposure throughout the valley, and a lot of folks from out of state are coming in for this as well. So it's something to pay attention to. We are this Wednesday, the day after tomorrow, conducting a workshop where it's the first of the year, and it's held at the Gorino Farms on Latin Town Road at 6 p.m. this Wednesday. Members, non-members are more than welcome to attend. The purpose of the seminar is to give exposure. How do you get exposure and give exposure to your businesses, which is, of course, one of our main reasons for being Meet Me in Marlborough in the first place. So this consultant from NIAC is coming in to spend a few hours with us to see what sort of synergy can be built up further between the members, to get the word out and to teach us all what to do in our daily lives, including, of course, our exposure on the website and on each individual website and the cross exposure, et cetera, et cetera. So quite an interesting a workshop at 6 p.m. this Wednesday. We are also working on tours. I've, of course, talked about that before, but we're now getting into more seasonal tours. We're not just focusing on the summertime, but very much also on the fall, winter, and spring, trying to get folks in here to go to the wineries and the various kinds of businesses that we have. We have printed, which looks similar to this, we have printed 5,000 rack cards, as we call them. It's really just a card that gives you a synopsis of what Meet Me in Marlborough is all about. 5,000 of those and 7,500 brochures. I won't hand it out because it will distract you during this presentation. Thank you. We'll get them a little later. So we have actually not printed as many as we have in the past because our website is getting more and more hits, and we think that in a couple of years we might not even print anything else but just a rack card. How have we distributed these? Well, we've gotten some help from the state of New York, from the Thruway Authority, and we also put them down at the, can't think of what that's called, but the Parkway just south of West Point. That's that old gas station there where they had out brochures. Yeah. Several other places, and many of us members have actually taken these brochures out and handed them to businesses and various locations throughout the area, which I think works a lot better than just putting them in an envelope or in a box. They arrive and they are collecting dust for the rest of the season, unfortunately. So that's what we have all been doing. We also, again this year, were involved in the Marlborough High School scholarships, where we gave out 3 scholarships that this year were given out by the Meet Me in Marlborough together with, I should say, the Prospect Hill Orchards, in other words, Steve Clark's farm. Mm-hmm. So that was pretty much what I have to say this evening, and are there any questions?
I'm supposed to say that. Are there any questions?
I just want to, we do have a box of, we have a box of your brochures in the town clerk's office, so. Yes, Colleen has them.
Thank you.
I have to tell you one thing, that on the way down here, I found out my 2 batteries are dead. Which is very sad, but so you have to really speak up for me to hear you. Go ahead.
I have the brochures in my office, and we restock it out front for all the brochures you gave us.
Great, appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Thank you, sir.
Good, thank you.
Thank you, Vijay.
Hamilton Milton Association Committee, Alan?
No, flowers are looking good. They're doing a great job with them. That's about it. I talked to Vivian the other day. Everything's looking good.
Yeah, it's looking real great. Didn't have to water them for a time there. I mean, the rain.
Well, they actually bought new, speaking of watering, the hanging baskets, they actually bought these new ones. They were about $100 each, but they're self-waterers. Put 10 gallons in them, and based on how much it's been raining, they've never filled them. Like, they just keep refilling themselves. So the only thing they've been watering is the ones that are on the ground, you know, on the sidewalks.
Well, that's great.
Yeah. So,
Technology, huh?
Yeah.
Who knew? Howard Transfer Station Review Committee?
Just 2 items that we've been talking about for a while. I did finally get a contact person from the sheriff's office, and we spoke today, and we'll be setting that up. I have to make arrangements with the people that are going to take the tires first, and then they can supply the workers for us, and then I'll also follow up on the trash pickup along those lines, Al. And then the second one is shipping the brush up at the transfer station. I'm in correspondence with Mr. Whitaker up at the Ulster County Resource Recovery Agency, and we agreed that we would try to get down there this week. He has to come down and take a look at it before he commits to doing it, so trying to make that arrangement. Hopefully it'll happen in a week or 2, and then we can make a date.
Thank you, Howard.
Yep.
Does anybody have anything to say about A, B, C, D, or E on old business?
No, nope.
Okay, moving right along. We don't have any new business, don't have any correspondence, everybody's happy in Marlborough.
Oh, boy.
Don't- So, right now, it's the time for public comment. Anybody have public comment? Of course.
Just come right up, don't get
He sits very close to the
I've
Mr.
observed-
Walters, how are you?
I've observed
Where's Jerry?
a potential safety hazard. I don't know how many people might have seen it. On 9W, just south of the old Marlborough Hardware, a car parks on the sidewalk. It's an electric car. They plug it in, and on 2 occasions in the last probably 6 weeks, I saw an adult with a small child had to step out on the highway side in order to get around this vehicle. One of the others was a man pushing a stroller. I don't know how many other times of the day people have observed it. I've seen a few adults that had to walk around with no little kids involved. But I just don't think it's proper for a car to park on the sidewalk. Whether it's because that's where he has to charge his car, but I do think it's a safety issue. And I think somebody should look into it and make suggestions to the person who owns the vehicle. It appears it's the same vehicle all the time.
Insurance company.
I don't know who it is.
Yeah, it is.
All right, but it seems like it's the same vehicle all the time.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they parallel to 9W. Right, right past it.
Yeah. You know,
Okay.
but I just think it should be looked at.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Al.
Okay. Going on to resolutions. So the first resolution we've been talking about quite a bit is the zoning change in Milton from R to C1. Does anybody have any questions on that? Also, we will post a notice of public hearing, right, Colleen? We got that all taken care of. Could you poll the board, please, on that zoning change? Yes.
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 Thank you, gentlemen. To approve the next one, Resolution 61, to approve application for LWRP grant for development of Milton Landing Park. Supervisor Alan Zeta proposes the following, whereas the town of Marlborough has finished its LWRP and is moving forward for the implementation of Directive for Economic Recreation Development, and whereas the town is seeking funding from the local waterfront revitalization program for the completion of the adjacent section of Milton Landing Park to provide a beautiful and functional area to welcome new visitors, including parking and pickup, drop-off facilities, trails, benches, landscaping, and a new kayak launch for the enjoyment of all. And whereas completing the combination of components will result in a wonderful and productive new asset to the town, region, and state. Be it resolved that the town of Marlborough supports the application for LWRP grant and moves for its adoption.
Yes.
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 Yes. This is to award contract to Merit Construction. Supervisor Lanzetta proposes the following. Whereas the town board has previously approved the extension of sanitary sewer service along 9W in the hamlet of Marlborough, and whereas the plans and specification for the extension have been prepared by Bernier and Larios PC, professional engineers of Kingston, New York, and whereas plans and specification for contract TM-191 Route 9W sewer extension were completed, and whereas the town board authorized advertisement of bids, and the project was publicly advertised for bids, and 5 bids were received by the town on January 20th, 2019, and whereas the lowest responsible bidder is Merit Construction, Staghorn Lane, Saratoga, New York. Saugerties, sorry, thank you, gentlemen. With a base bid of $241,950 exclusive of allowances. Therefore, be resolved that the Town Board of Town of Marlborough award contract number TM 191 Route 9W sewer extension for the Town of Marlborough to Merit Construction, Inc. in the amount of $241,950 plus applicable allowance for rock excavation and stipulated in the contract document, and that this award is subject to a final plan approval by the New York State DEC and moves for its adoption.
Yes.
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 Yes. That's the end of the resolutions, gentlemen. I believe we finished our business tonight. I need a motion.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Thank you all.
Good meeting.